Okay. And in terms of the change in process, so, there's no real change in process. Let's just clarify that.
There is no changing process.
How about the website? What does the web, is it easier? So you guys obviously your team book with TLS now?
So we have some advantage with VFS and some with TLS. The advantage we had with VFS is we could see the availabilities of the appointment before to book the appointment, which is now not the case with TLS. You need to complete everything, to give your passport number and to validate the application on the website to see the availabilities. If that doesn't match or doesn't work, you need to call back TLS, cancel the application, and book in another center an appointment.
Okay, so process is a little bit heavier or clunkier?
Yeah, you need to be sure where you want to go, which center you choose, and to book the earlier appointment.
And you'll be able to, through our website, you're able to check as well where the centers are for you guys watching if you want to go to the resource page of our website. Okay, so moving on to the next questions again, Juliette, sorry, I'm just throwing these at you. And these, again, thanks for everybody sending these in. Will renting, am I still able to rent a property in France as an American?
In fact, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Hopefully you can.
Yeah.
But it's complicated. The market in France can be complicated because the person who rent a place has more rights than the landlord. So to protect the landlord, a lot of agencies put in place a guarantee, which is guarantee loyer impayé. And if they have this guarantee in process, they do not accept international income. But not all agencies work with this type of guarantee. And generally, the private landlord, they do not work with this type of guarantee. So we can find solution to find a property. It's not a problem, but it's more difficult.
And so if you were a client considering to use our service, what does that service look like? How have we organized ourselves?
We have two options. The first option is if it's possible to book an Airbnb during 3 months, because it's accepted to have first an Airbnb just for 3 months.
So for 90 days?
Exactly.
Must be 90 days.
Exactly. We do advise, because after it's too short, really too short. When you are in France, we just organize for you all the visit. We send everything to the agency. So you just need to choose the place, go physically to the visit, and we take care of the rest.
And on the affordability side, for those preparing for their visas on their own, make sure that you can demonstrate the minimum income requirement plus the cost of renting.
Absolutely.
So really, if you don't have a huge amount of liquid cash, having an Airbnb is potentially a risky application.
Yes, exactly.
Because you couldn't actually afford it for 12 months, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
you can't also justify it.
Yeah, and also we add a later to explain what is going to be the project. So if you have just an Airbnb, we do advise to prepare later to explain you plan to rent and to find a long-term place, just to explain it needs to be clear for the authorities.
But in our package, I was listening to you explain how this works the other day to a client. So in our seamless rental service, what is it? Who works in the team?
Sigolène.
Okay.
She's clearly the friend touch of the team. She knows how to
But we help with the Airbnb as well?
Yeah, we have Kaylee. Kaylee can help to find the Airbnb, so we can send some suggestions, especially to find a good place, because we have some clients, they do not really know where they want to be. So we try to understand what is their lifestyle and to find the perfect place for them. The advantage with the Airbnb also, it's to have time to discover where you are going to be. Because if you do not know really where you want to be, that could be a good option and opportunity to discover a small town or region you do not know, and which can be very, very good surprise.
So I'm just interrupting this podcast to remind anyone that's watching today that if you are thinking about moving to France and you just have some things that you really would like to understand and maybe make this a bit more tailored, you can actually use this link in the description box below for your free appointment with one of our consultants. I said again, free appointment. So this is exclusive to our YouTube channel and you can find it in the description box just below. And French Connections, HCB, we have a few properties. They're all booked, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all booked for the moment, but we have some in renovations. So we could see in the long term some.
And if you're watching
available.
today and you have a rental property, please reach out to us because we could probably help fulfill the vacancy. Just upon that, I think it's also worth mentioning, the standard of finish of properties is maybe quite different in France than it is in the English-speaking world. So maybe having foots on the ground with an Airbnb and then being able to visit the property yourself before engaging into a long-term rental would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And also there is no bachelor price because something can look good in picture and finally in reality it's very different. Also, it's a question of feeling because I can like something you are not going to like. So the Airbnb, in any case, it's a short term. It's just for 3 months. If finally we find the place before the 90 days, it's good. You can just move in your new place and you can save money also.
But you and your team look after all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
You can save money because if you want to rent in advance before you arrive in France, generally you will need to have the address for the visa application during the appointment. So you will need to book in advance the long-term place, and you will need to pay some months in advance.
Upon that, one of the questions was, will renting be more expensive for Americans because of the current political situation? Not at all.
No,
right?
The price in France, when you see an advert, it's difficult to negotiate the price. We can do it in some situation, but the price is the same for everybody.
Égalité.
Exactement.